Welcome to Birds Prey Sports. We cover Ravens and Orioles news weekly. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And in this video, Ravens season, Ravens video, it finally feels good. Finally, a team we can have hope in. Orioles got to do better, but it feels good to make another Ravens video. And we have our whole schedule, and it's a schedule full of bangers. We're going to be in a lot of primetime games this year. I think about four. So we're gonna have exposure. We're gonna have a lot of division rival games. We're gonna have the whole 9 yards. And to start off, we're playing against the Buffalo Bills, Sunday night football, 8:20 p.m. rematch of the AFC divisional. Chance to get our get back. We were 0 for 1 last year, but this year we want to make that 1 for 2. So did you want to go by these games one by one, or you just want me to say all of them? And we'll
Let's just say what our schedule is, and then we'll do our predictions afterwards.
bet. So after the Bills, we got the Cleveland Browns, September 14th, 1 o'clock at the bank. Week 3, got Monday Night Football against the Lions. That's going to be a banger at 8:15 p.m. at the bank. Then we travel to Kansas City, 4:25 p.m. On CBS. It's probably going to be a Romo Nats game. Uh,
Ugh.
that's September 28th. Then we come back to Baltimore, play against the Texans 1 p.m. That's going to be a great game to go to. That's going to be October 5th. October 12th, we're back at home against the Rams 1 p.m. on Fox. Then we have our bye week. It's a really early bye week for us, considering what we've had the previous years. Then we come back on October 26th against the Chicago Bears, 1 p.m. So that's 3 home games in a row, which is pretty good. So we will be well rested towards the middle of the season ish, or first quarter of the season. Um, then we'll have 3 away games in a row. Like, what is this Madden scheduling? We'll play on Halloween Eve against the Miami Dolphins. Thursday night football at 8:15 p.m. That's a curse for us playing the Dolphins on Thursday night football. They embarrassed us about 3 years ago. Hopefully we can get our revenge. That'd be a nice game to go to. I bet everybody's gonna be wearing Halloween costumes and whatnot. That's gonna be a good game. That would be a good game to go to.
Especially down in Miami. Oof.
Oh yeah. And then we'll come back on November 9th against at the Vikings on Fox. It's probably gonna be Tom Brady, Kevin Burkhardt. Then we'll have at the Cleveland Browns on November 16th, 4:25 p.m. 3 days after Jared's birthday on November 23rd, we'll play at the Jets. No, here against the Jets at home. That's a 1 p.m. game. And then
That's what.
Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a butt whoop for sure. And Thanksgiving, look, he's already smiling. Look at him. He's already smiling. He's thinking about that food and the Ravens. Look. Thanksgiving, we play against the Cincinnati Bengals. 8:20. So we have the last game of that slate of that day's slate of games, primetime game. The NFL cooked with that. NFL cooked with that. 8:20 p.m. on NBC. Um, we're gonna have after that, we're gonna be playing against the Steelers December 7th at 1 p.m. CBS. Then we're gonna go at Cincinnati on the 14th December at 1 p.m.
How
CBS.
stupid. How stupid. Bengals, Steelers, Bengals.
Yep.
That's fair.
And then we'll play the Patriots here at 1 p.m. on CBS. It's 4 days before Christmas. And our last 2 games are at the Packers and the Steelers. Those are flex games, so those are to be announced. So, as the season goes along, we'll see what those are about. So, pretty exciting schedule we have there.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of weird stretches though. Like we have 3 home games in a row twice.
Yep.
I mean, the bye is in the way, so it doesn't really count, but and then 3 road games in a row, and then the last 4 games are on the road. Like I think that the Patriots and Packers game should be switched. So it could be away, home, sorry, away, home, away, so
Yeah.
that we can have. I think that's how it should be for every team. Like if you're not finishing on the road, I mean, if
Mhm.
you're not finishing at home, this week before should be at home. But the NFL has other plans, I guess. A banger of start to the season. I mean, at Bills, get a second straight year finishing or playing against a team that you lost to. Um, kind of crazy. But and you got what is it? Bills, Lions, Chiefs, Texans, Rams, all playoff teams the first 6 weeks of the season. And
Yep.
then the Browns, you got to throw the Browns in there. They're not a playoff team, but they're always going to give you trouble.
Yep.
So, I think this is a very good schedule. I think that, there are favorable games that we should win. Like, I think we should sweep the Browns. I think that we should beat the Bears. We should destroy the Jets. That should be our yearly blowout. We should beat the Patriots. That's really all the teams I think like we should beat. We should beat the Dolphins too.
We should beat
But
the Texans too. CJ Stroud always gets that belt whenever he goes against us. That's another
that's
easy win
true.
right
He doesn't
there.
even score a touchdown against us, so I
Yeah.
think that changes this year though, unfortunately. But it's not going to be any prettier. So, anyways, I mean, what do you think about the schedule? Like, what do you think? Think it's fair? Do you think it's unfair? I mean, it's not really.
I,
There's really not a fair unfair, but I guess. Like, what do you think about the schedule?
I like it a lot, especially the contrary to what you said. I actually like the final two games because it keeps us on our toes. The Packers and the Steelers, the Steelers will either be right in the playoff mix or they won't. And they always look to spoil our seeding going into the playoffs. So to have those two teams back to back, it keeps us on our toes, it keeps us locked in, and it keeps us, just having that mindset of, win or go home going into the playoffs. So I like how we ended out there. I like how we start off kind of hot. It kind of sets the tone, how we'll be for the rest of the season, against the Bills. Then, 2 weeks later against the Lions. Then we play the Chiefs and the Texans and the Rams. That's a killer, 4 week slate right there. And, I really like that a lot. It'll definitely tell what type of team we have. And then kind of slows down towards the middle half after the bye week. So we're very top headed and kind of a little bit heavy ended as well. So I kind of like that a lot. I really do. And Thanksgiving matchup. I mean, we haven't had that since we were supposed to have it in 2020, but it got COVID. Some players had COVID. Before that, we had it in 2013, I believe. So it's long overdue to have a real,
It was
real
really that long
Thanksgiving.
since our Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, and then we had it against the 49ers 2011. That was an amazing matchup. Defense was going nuts that game.
So we've only played at home on Thanksgiving, huh?
Yeah, well, the Steelers were away. We were going to be away, but yeah.
Damn.
So
So, and weren't like the 49ers undefeated at that point?
they were like 10-1, and we were 7-3, something like that. So
Yeah. That
they
was
were 9-1, and we were 7-3. I think that's what the records were. So
They were gonna wear all purple uniforms at Thanksgiving.
I want us to do all black.
All blacks for that Lions game, man.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Because we can predict our uniforms. I think we're gonna wear all white week one. I think we're gonna wear purple and white week two. I
Mhm.
think we're all black versus Lions. White on purple versus the Chiefs. White on white. I mean white on white. Purple on white versus the Texans. Purple on white versus the Rams. I'll say we wear purple and white again versus the Bears. I say we wear all white versus the Dolphins. I say we wear white on black versus the Vikings. White on black versus the Browns. I say that no, yeah, versus the Jets, we'll probably wear purple on black.
Yeah.
Versus the Bengals, we'll wear all purple. Versus the Steelers, we'll probably wear all purple. No, not all purple. We'll probably wear purple on yellow. On yellow. What the fuck is yellow? I mean,
Purple and black.
where did I get yellow from? I should watch my language. Purple on white. Bengals, purple on. I mean, white on purple. Patriots. I guess
I
you can
see
start
all
on
purple.
purple.
I think all purple,
Yeah, I could see that. And then Packers,
all white. I like think all
all
white.
white. Steelers. No, I actually think the Packers will be white on purple, and the Steelers would be all white. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I can see.
That's me being
A
a
mix up between those last two, definitely for
yeah.
sure.
So I'm not gonna remember that, so I don't know if I'm gonna get that all right. But I kind of did that for nothing. I guess now we can get into individual game predictions.
Let's go. I can't wait to get to this point. Let's go.
All right, so I'm a dummy yapping. I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
Um, week one
So
versus the Bills.
start off against the Bills week one. I think we're gonna come in this game pissed off. At least I would be. I would definitely get the players to be like that if I was Harbs. I think we come into this game fired up. I say we win 35-24. I feel like it's definitely going to be very close in the beginning. We're going to have those annual Ravens defense kind of, takes, starts off a little bit slow towards the beginning of the season. And then, we kind of make some plays towards the end and we get that dub. So 35-24, start off the season 1-0.
Okay. Well, I'm writing it down by the way, just so I can see if we're
Yep.
doing a good job. So, I also have us winning this game. I think that we are definitely going to come in pissed off. Um, I think you have us winning by two scores. You said 35-24. I
Yep.
have us winning 27-21. I think that, it's just going to be one of those early season kind of great games. It's going to be a Sunday night football game, so it's going to be probably a good game. You know, um, I think we lead for most of it, and I think that the Ravens defense just comes in with a fire. I think they cause two turnovers, and I think Lamar throws like probably just like one touchdown or whatever. But I think Derrick Henry might get two, and then we get two field goals after that. So I think that the Ravens do win 27-21 to start the season 1-0.
All right. Moving on to week two against the Cleveland Browns, who will most likely have Flacco starting. I believe this game, it could easily be a trap game. I don't think we fall for the trap though. I think we win this game 24-10. I believe it kind of starts out slow, where at halftime it's 10-10. We just have those usual Browns games where we can't, we just shoot ourselves in the foot. Maybe we, try to go for it on fourth down or something and we don't get it. Some hard bug, typical decision. And then we kind of turn it up, going in, starting the third quarter, we went 24-10, starts out 2-0.
I You said 24-10, right?
Yep.
Well, I think the Ravens dominate this game. I think they win 38-17. I think they finally get past their opening home opener woes. They've had some terrible week two home opener games. I think losing to the Raiders and then losing to the Dolphins, and then 2021 it was what? Who we played 2021?
Uh,
Oh, it was the Chiefs. That was a good game.
it was,
That was
it
a
was
good.
good overall.
I'm not gonna forget that. I went to that game. But the week one, it was just the Raiders. We lost. But I think the Ravens just they finally get an easy home opener and dominate for once. I think
Um,
this season there's not going to be a lot of those stupid losses. There's going to be losses, but there's not going to be those stupid losses. And I don't think it starts now. I think the Ravens have a very rare September blowout and versus a divisional opponent win 38-7. 30
I,
to 17.
I like that. All right. So going into week three, Detroit Lions come in Monday Night Football 8:15. I think we show out in this game. We put that belt to the Lions last time we played them 38-6. I believe it comes back. It's Monday Night Football at the bank. We can't lose that game. Hopefully we wear the all black uniforms. I say we win this one 30-17. I feel like it's going to be a game where we'll always have them at arm's length. They'll try to come back a little bit, but we'll be having our, second tier guys in and just playing prevent ball. 30-17 win. 3-0, baby.
All right. Well, I have the Ravens putting on a similar clinic that they did last year versus the Bills. I think the Ravens win 31-14. I'm not going to do a lot of blowouts. I'm not a homer. I'm not going to do a lot of blowouts. I have us winning the next week too, but not by a lot. But I think the Ravens, they're all black uniforms. I know the Lions defense is going to probably be pretty good, but early season with Aiden Hutchinson probably not being 100%, I think they're going to run all over their defense. They're going to do probably exactly what the Commanders did. The only difference between us and the Commanders is that we're going to have a lockdown defense. Jared Goff is going to be seeing ghosts all night. We're just going to be seeing freaking demons. We're wearing all black. We're going to
Ooh,
be demons on that field.
demons.
He's
Yeah,
always seeing ghosts. He's
I
going to be
like.
seeing demons on the field.
Yeah, I like that.
So Mike Green's going to sit on him a few times. Hopefully, that's all he does. But I think we win. I think we win 3-0 and 3-0. I think we win
Great
30.
enough.
I think we went 31-14 and we go 3-0 to start the year. No, we won 3-0. I don't give a shit. We won. So.
Is Greg Roman our offensive coordinator?
If you
Oh,
went 3-0 though, Zach Gore deserves a raise.
it's like a 2006 win. All right. So we're both in agreement. We start out 3-0. I like that. Now it's a early season challenge. Kind of reminds me of 2019 a bit against Kansas City Chiefs, week 4, 425 games. So it's probably gonna be Romo and Nance. In my opinion, it's like this: the Ravens have to win this game. I don't care if it's only week 4. We have to win. There's no way that we can we've lost the last 3. If we lose this game, it will be 3 games in a row we've lost to the Chiefs. We can't allow that to happen. So we have to win this game, and I feel like we do. I feel like we get over our woes against the Chiefs, hopefully for the foreseeable future. I feel like we win this game. You know what's crazy? I like this. Tyler Loop is the hero in this game. This is the game that gets his confidence and mojo up. I feel like we win this game 28-25. Has to be Tyler Loop's game. I like that. So he kicks a game-winning 46-yard field goal, gives him all the confidence in the world. Boom. 4-0.
Well, you kind of stole all the words in my mouth because I was about to say something similar. I think the Ravens do finally get over the hump, and because in my opinion, you don't want to get over the hump in the postseason because you're putting a much too much added pressure onto yourself. I think the Ravens beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead is going to be an extreme confidence booster for them eventually playing them hopefully later in the season in a certain game that I will probably get to, at the end of this video. But I think Tyler Loop is also the hero in this game. I think he hits a game-winning 51-yard field goal. And we win 27-24. I have a few written down already. I wasn't just copying off of you. I got a few weeks down. But so I think the Ravens do win 17. Damn it, 27-24, and they start the season 4-0.
I like that. I like that. All right, so we're both in agreement on that. Against the Texans, I feel like this is another typical Ravens Texans belt to butt game. I feel like it'll be a little bit closer, but I have us winning this game 20-13. I feel like at some point the score will be 20-3, but then we let them, score 10 unanswered points. Defense makes the last stand. We win 20-13. And yeah, we have 5-0.
Should 20-13?
Yes, 20-13.
Well, I have a common Ravens thing happening. Great win, terrible loss. I have the Ravens losing to the Texans and CJ Stroud for the first time in his tenure with the Texans. I have us losing on a game-losing field goal. I have us losing 17-20. Like I said, I just feel that the highs are going to be too high after the Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs win could be a comeback win, so I think that momentum might not carry in to the next week because last time we beat the Chiefs, the momentum did not carry in the next week. We got bailed out by a 66-yard field goal versus the Lions. So I think the Ravens unfortunately do lose this game 17-20. I think it's just our offense just struggles to get their footing in this game. I think their defensive line can dominate our offensive line. So I think this is definitely a loss in my opinion. In my book, 17-20, and we dropped to 4-1 on my schedule.
All right, so going into week going into week 6, play the Rams, 1 o'clock game. I have us winning this game. I feel like it'll be a lot more. I feel like it'll be another thriller, just like how it was in 2023, especially with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I feel like it'll come down to a game-winning drive by Lamar, in which we will win. Let's see. I say we'll win 34-33. Game-winning drive by Lamar.
34-33, you said?
Yes.
All right. I have the Ravens winning as well. I actually have them winning a little bit more than the last time. I have them winning 28-13. I think after the loss of the Texans, in my opinion, in my schedule prediction, they come out with a different fire in this game. I feel like it's kind of like that Steelers game from the wild card where it's just the Ravens lead for just all of the game. And I just don't think that I think the Ravens defense shuts down what's his face? Matthew Stafford and company. They're gonna have a hard time with Nakua probably, but who doesn't? So I'll say that the Ravens hopefully double him and then lock down everybody else since they don't have Cup anymore. So I would
Yeah, he was even worse. He fried us the last time.
right, exactly. So, I would say the Ravens I'll say the Ravens win 28-13 head to 5-1 at the bye.
I like that. I like that. So you're 5-1. I'm 6-0 at the bye. So now we're in week 8 after the bye. Chicago Bears belt. So we win this game. 38 to 38 to 7. I feel like this is just one of those games where we put a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams the whole entire game. We lock down DJ Moore and we just get the job done. I feel like they'll it'll be that type of game where we score each on our first drive and then we just take over, win 38 to 7.
To 30-7.
Yes.
I was winning 35-13. So
Like
I think that it's another. Wait, what was your score again? I'm sorry. I was writing it down. I'm sorry.
38 to 7.
38-7. What a dominant. You guys undefeated right now. 7-0.
Really?
I do have us dominating the Bears as well. I think that the Bears are going to be an improved team this year, but they're going to remind me a lot of the Broncos, from last season, where they are good, but not good enough.
Yeah.
So they have the talent to become good enough eventually, and I think Caleb Williams is going to have a better year. Well, he didn't have a terrible year last year, but I think he's going to have a better year than he did last year. But I just think that we're on a different level, and we're going to beat them 35-13 and have us a 6-1.
Yep. And so now against the Miami Dolphins, day before Halloween, I feel like this is a redemption game. This could be a trap game, and I could see us potentially losing this game, but at the same time, I just feel like we won't. I just feel like in my heart we'll win this game. It'll be another close game. I say we'll win 26 to 20. Again, kind of, pushed by another Lamar game-winning drive. He, again helps us get over that edge. We win 26 to 20, improve to 8-0, I believe that is, and get the win.
8-0.
Yep.
On a short week, I have our offense being a little bit sluggish in this game, versus the Dolphins. They might get a little sidelined by the warm weather down in Miami. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix this here. But I have us winning 24-10. I feel like this is one of our better defensive outings of the year. Not the best, but one of them. Um, I could imagine, I mean, for all we know, Tua won't even be playing in this game. He might have another concussion. Um, but I think, due to the short week, the Ravens offense doesn't have to be too explosive. They shut the door down and they win 24-10 and they head to 7-1 on my schedule.
I like that. So here comes my first loss of the season, unfortunately. Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings and Ravens have always been a tough matchup. They arguably, they almost beat us the last time we played them in 2021, I believe that was. I believe they'll get us at home, at their home. I feel like this is going to be a game where the Ravens just start off slow and really can't get their footing going. I believe we'll lose 24 to 14. We'll struggle with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, just going off on us. And we just, like I said, we can't get our footing going. So this is a loss, our first loss, 24 to 14.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking about changing it to a win. I had put a loss as well. I have the Ravens losing 27-31. I also have the same concerns with Jefferson and Addison and stuff. Forgot I thought they had a pretty good tight end too, but I don't remember for sure.
Hawkinson, they do have Hawkins in the
Yeah,
game.
so I think that they do struggle with that. I think this is our first bad defensive effort of the season. Um, I don't know how well McCarthy might do. He might just probably get bailed out by like Jefferson and company.
That's what I was thinking.
I think that the Ravens do lose this game too. I have them going to 7-2 in the year and losing 27-31. It's just kind of one of those frustrating games. I think the Ravens don't lead even once in this game. They may lead up for the first drive, but I think it's just gonna be one of those kind of annoying games where we do kind of stupid things, maybe the fourth downs, maybe the turnovers, missed field goals, block punts, whatever, just something stupid, and we wind up losing this game 27-31, in my opinion.
So now we're going into week 11 at the Browns. I feel like in this game, Shador, in my mind, I feel like Shador will be starting by this time, maybe. I feel like we do win, but it'll be another close game. It'll be kind of like a scare, like, oh, will the Ravens lose 2 games in a row? And then, we'll pull out a win. I feel like we'll win this game 28 to 20. We'll give Shador a little bit of trouble and then he'll heat up towards the end and, get a little bit good plays in, but we ultimately win 28 to 20.
28-20, you said?
Yes.
All right, let me write that down. 9-1. I have the Ravens just beating down the Browns even worse. I think that the Ravens just are pissed off after losing to the Vikings. I think the defense is pissed off. I think the offense is pissed off, and I think that they dominate the Browns 38-7. I think, they're done losing to these silly teams or whatever, and they just dominate the Browns 30-7 and get to 8-2 in the year.
Okay, I like that. Next, we have week 12 against the Jets. I just think this is just a blowout win. Nothing too extravagant about it. I believe we win this game 34 to 10. Kind of similar to the Broncos game last year. It's kind of a little bit close at the beginning. Maybe the Jets are winning 10 to 7 at some point, and we just turn the heaters on and just pile up some points. 34 to 10.
34-10?
Yes.
Damn, just a blowout. I think the Ravens also dominate the Jets. I think it's just ugly by halftime. I think it could be one of those 28 nothing halftime scores. The Jets, to me, are a clown show. They will be a clown show for the foreseeable future. Aaron Rodgers made them more of a clown show, because that's what he is. And I think that the Jets are just going to be a mess for the foreseeable future. And I think that the Ravens, again, just dominate. I think it's 41-17, but I think they get like a late, like second score or whatever, or some BS like that,
Yeah.
and make the score look less worse. And the Ravens, in my opinion, go 9-2 in the season.
Only distraction in this game that the Ravens can have is probably Ice Spice. She's dating Sauce Gardner. I'm just playing, but yeah. But moving on. Now we have our Thanksgiving matchup on a short week against the Bengals. I feel like we can't lose this game, but it's definitely going to be close. I feel like we win off of again a Tyler Loop field goal. I believe we win this game 20 to 17. It's going to be very close, going to be very, very scary and nerve-wracking. Some people might throw up them Thanksgiving leftovers, but ultimately we get that win 20 to 17. Tyler Loop field goal.
And so you'll be there.
Yep.
You don't throw up your Thanksgiving dinner. Well, I have the Ravens winning. I think that this game is close for most of it, but I think the defense gets the much needed turnover they didn't get last year in the late stages of the game and it caused like a game-ending turnover or whatever. I think we win 38-24. I think it's another one of those classic Ravens Bengals games up until we turn the tide. And I think we win 38-24 on Thanksgiving and we go to 10-2 of the season.
Okay, moving on to Pittsburgh, another home game. I feel like we win this game. I feel like it'll be a very low scoring game. One that again will kind of be a grinder. I feel like this is a game where Derrick Henry will really take over and wear them down. I have us winning 16 to 10 in this game and improving. I believe we're 11-1. My
12-1.
12-1, my schedule.
I think the Ravens do beat the Steelers. It's good. I think it's going to remind me a lot of that wild card game. Is again, I think we win 27-14. I think we take like a 21-7 lead at one point, kick two field goals. They get a late score to make it look better, and we ultimately win and go 11-2. So, especially at home, I just think the Ravens are going to probably just look like the better team finally against them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because again, what I was said earlier, they figured out their demons versus the Steelers in the regular season
Right.
and then
Yeah,
played them in the postseason.
yeah. That's exactly what I think too.
So next week,
Yep. So going into next week, unfortunately, I hate to say this, especially to the Bengals. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are going to get that dub over us. I feel like this is going to be a game where it's kind of frustrating. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just go off, and in this point, we won't have an answer for it. I believe they'll win 27 to 17. We just sort of, we probably have the lead by like 3-0 or probably 10 to 3, and we just can't sort of, find our groove, and we lose this game 27 to 17. Second loss of the year.
I have the Ravens dropping this game as well. I think that it's going to be another one of those Ravens Bengals shootouts, but unfortunately, I think the Bengals finally get their shootout win against us. I have us losing 24-17 on a game-ending field goal, like how we technically should have lost last year in Cincinnati. I think McPherson drills it this time. Oh, you remember in overtime when he freaking
Hey,
shanked the field goal?
you said 24 to 17 on the game-ending field goal?
Sorry, 24-27. Sorry, I'm like doing 10 things at once. I think we lose 24-27. I think they finally hit a game-winning field goal against
Okay.
us, and I think they finally end their losing streak against us.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I think that we dropped to 11-3 on the season.
And we're going to hear from Zimhude the whole week.
Yep.
And then moving on against the Patriots, 4 days before Christmas, I believe the Ravens gift us a present, and we win this game. I feel like the Patriots are going to be much improved. I feel like this game is going to remind me a lot of the Rams game from 2023. Drake May is going to have a great offense around him. He's going to have Stephon Diggs. He's going to have Campbell, who they just drafted this year. And, it's going to be a very close game. I feel like the Ravens pull this one out, but not in overtime. I feel like we win 28-23. Drake May is going to impress a lot of people and give us a scare, but we'll ultimately get it done. 28-23.
I have the Ravens winning and coming in pissed off like how they were the week after the Vikings game. And I think that Drake May has absolutely no shot against our defense. And I think that it's close maybe for a little bit of the game, but we pull away after the second quarter and we wind up winning 41-13. And we head to 12-3 on the season.
All right, I like that. I have us going into this Packers game. I have us losing. And I feel like, it's going to be one of those frustrating games where we ended up we have the lead for most of the game, but we give it up, just like how we're used to us doing these previous years. I feel like we lose this game 30-21. I feel like the Packers just sort of go on a couple of scoring drive towards the end and we just can't keep up and we drop our third game of the season.
I think this is going to be sort of similar like the 49ers game in 2023. It won't be to the same magnitude, but I think that the Packers will be competing for the one of the top seeds in the NFC. I think they're going to have a better year than they did last year. They finally got Love a receiver, I believe. If I'm not, they finally got him in the first round, I think too, right?
Yeah, Matthew Golden. Yep.
Right. So not that he's going to be groundbreaking for them, but I think that the Ravens come in and dominate that game defensively. That leads a lot of points offensively. It's going to be a lot like that 49ers game. And I think it's going to be on Sunday Night Football. They haven't announced that yet, but I believe it's going to be on Sunday Night Football or a night game. It's going to be a
Yeah.
night game,
Oh
either
yeah.
on NBC or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that they win 34-18. I think the Ravens get, I think the Packers get a late score and a 2-point conversion that ultimately makes it look better. I just think that this is going to be one of those games where the Ravens cement themselves. They get the first seed, they win the division, all that stuff. And I think that they win 34-18 and head to 13-3 on the year.
All right. And our last game of the season, Pittsburgh Steelers. I have us winning this game and going 14-3. I feel like we come into this game, we're in win now mode because obviously the Bills have a very easy schedule, so they're gonna be competing for a top spot, and so are we. We're gonna want that one seed. I have us winning this game um pretty handily. I feel like it's gonna be close at first, and then we just chip away. I have us winning 27. You know what? I'll say we win this game 24-6. My bad.
Write that down already, you jerk. You know what? I'm putting 27. You know, you're going 27-6. Go 27-6. I wrote this down already. I have a pen.
27-6.
Okay. I think that the Ravens have already locked up the first seed because the Bills will also finish 13-4, but we beat them. So we have the tiebreaker over them. So I think that we both finished 13-4, and the game doesn't matter. Don't play your starters in Pittsburgh. That's for damn sure. Especially versus TJ flopping around a fish Watt, who wants to almost end Ronnie Stanley's career. He did that shit on purpose, and I'll stand by that to the day that I die. So, but I think we lose this game. I think that they're just gonna steal one from us. I think they'll go like 9-8 or something. They're gonna be 8-8, and they're gonna go 9-8. It's gonna be like whatever. But I think we lose 13-20. I think Cooper Rush comes in and like doesn't do anything spectacular. I think our defense they're not gonna play like Roquan and Kyle and Starks and all that. I think our Darius Washington might be back at this point though,
Hopefully, yeah.
maybe. Which we didn't get a chance to talk about that. But I think that we lose 13-20. We had a 13-4, but I think like the Chiefs are like 12-5. I think the Bills are like 13-4, and whoever wins the South, they're probably like 10-7 or 11-6. So like they're not really a threat to. I mean, who in the South is going to dethrone the Texans? The Colts, the Titans, the Jags. So I think To me, I could see it playing like this. I could see the first seed being the Ravens. Ravens at 13-4 or 14-3, whatever you want to say. I think the Bills are the two seed at 13-4 as well. Um, I think the Chiefs could be the three seed at 12-5. You know, they could even be 13-4 as well. They could be three 13-4 teams, but I'll say just 12-5 just for I think the Texans are like they're like 11-6. We'll say that's fair.
Mm.
I think like the five seed could be the Broncos, maybe.
Okay.
Broncos at like I think they could be like 11-6 as well.
Mm.
I say like the six seed could be mm, maybe the Raiders.
What about the Dolphins?
I don't think the Dolphins make the playoffs this year. I don't know. They have a pretty decent defense. If Tua can stay healthy, I think maybe. I have the Dolphins as the seventh seed,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
want a six seed. I am stuck between the Bengals, the Raiders, and the Chargers. But I don't think the Chargers make the postseason. I think they miss it this year
I
because
mean, I think they make it because they got Mekhi Becton. They still have a pretty good defense, and they still have like a offensive core they got going on. I feel like they could make it.
let me look at the AFC real quick. Let me just look at the AFC real quick to make sure. We're running out of time here. We got to do our postseason games, but we'll probably do that in another video,
Okay.
like a second part of the video. I mean, let's see standings. Let's see, because I don't think the Patriots make it. I think they get close, but they don't make it.
Yeah, I believe that.
The Jets, they're probably gonna win like one game. The Dolphins. So I think the realistic options could be the Dolphins because they went 8-9 last year. They weren't awful.
Mhm.
So I think it could be the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Raiders, or the Chargers. Those are the four teams. So we have two spots for four teams. I think, you know what? Let's put the Bengals there.
Okay.
Bengals. We'll put them at 11-6 as well.
Okay.
The seven seed, though, the seven seed could be the Chargers, the Raiders, or the Dolphins. Chargers, Raiders, Dolphins.
I say Chargers because the Raiders got Geno Smith. I don't believe in Geno Smith, honestly. I don't believe he can take them there.
But you gotta remember they what? They got them, they got him, they got Genti now.
You have Pete Carroll. I mean, he has that experience, but I just feel like the Chargers have the better quarterback situation and running back and
Okay.
offense, so
I'll say the Charge at like 9-8 or something.
yeah, I believe that. Continue on with our playoff portion of the video. So, what do you think, Jared? Some playoffs looking like?
Yeah, so I have we went over the seedings and everything, so I have the wild card matchups. The
For one,
wild card matchups are the two-seeded Buffalo Bills versus the seven-seed Chargers, the three-seeded Chiefs versus the six-seeded Bengals, the four-seeded Texans versus the five-seeded Broncos. So
bangers, bro. What the? Woo!
great matchups, great matchups. So give me your prediction for the Bills and Chargers game.
Bills and
Well,
Chargers.
I guess give me your predictions for the prediction of the game.
Oh yeah. So hopefully it ends up this way. But I believe the Bills win that game. I believe they win 24-17. For the Chiefs and Bengals, that is, right?
Bills and Chargers.
No, the next game, the Chiefs and Bengals.
Yeah.
I believe the Bengals beat the Chiefs. And
Just do the Bills matchup right now because I don't
I
think
said that. I said the Bills win 24-17 against the Chargers.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you have for the Chiefs and Bengals?
Chiefs and Bengals, I feel like the Bengals win that one and knock the Chiefs out completely, which would be weird for a change, but I love that. I feel like the Bengals win 30-24.
Overtime, I guess.
Yeah, no, not even in overtime.
Okay, what about Texans Broncos?
Texans Broncos, I think the Broncos upset the Texans and they win 24-21.
Should the Broncos winning?
Yes.
Wow, you have a lot of upsets in the first round. I'm going to be lame, and I'm going to say I think the Bills dominate the Chargers. I think it's just the annual freaking Josh Allen tune-up game in the wild card round
Oh,
versus a team that probably doesn't belong to be there.
yeah.
I think Greg Roman's offense is shite in the postseason, so I think that they lose 38-6. I think the Chiefs beat the Bengals barely. I think they win 24-21, and I think the Texans beat the Broncos. You know what? I actually have the Broncos winning too. I have the Broncos beating the. No, actually, I changed that. I think the Texans win. I think they barely win, but it's like one of those kind of crazy games. I think it's like 31-27. I think they win. They win on a game-winning touchdown. So that now means that. So for your matchups in the second round, so you had the Bills winning, so they're going to host the second round. So who the Ravens play? The Ravens will play the Bengals in the divisional round. So on your side, it's the Bengals, one-seeded Ravens versus I said Ravens versus yes, six, right? Six-seeded Bengals.
Yes. I believe that.
Wait.
Oh,
And then you have the two-seeded Bills versus the five-seeded Broncos.
Texans. You said Texans will win.
No, you said,
Oh, me.
yeah.
Come on, man. I'm just playing.
Why do you say it? Why do you say it like that? Come on,
I know.
man.
Like, why you say it like that?
Come on, man. You know what you sounded like?
But
Actually, I'm not gonna say that. You probably already know who I'm thinking about.
I had even worse thing in my head, but it's okay.
You probably know who I'm thinking about though.
Oh yeah, I know what you're thinking about.
Hey, come on, man. You know, don't you?
But we can't do a video with.
Now you had to make it too obvious. All right, so your matchups are Ravens versus Bengals, Bills Broncos. Mine are the same from 2023. Ravens Texans, Bills Chiefs. So give me your reaction, your prediction. Ravens Bengals divisional round.
Well, this is going to be a rubber match basically for the Ravens and Bengals. I believe we win this game. I do think it'll be a tough game, but I feel like we chip away. I kind of it's like kind of how the Texans game was a couple years ago for us. I feel like we win 30-21. I just feel like we chip away at the end and we get that 9 point victory. And for
Bills Broncos.
those Broncos, I believe the Bills win. I think they win. This is a rematch actually from this year's divisional. No, for
Wild card.
wild card. I believe the Bills win 26-16. It's a lot closer than it was this past year, but ultimately the Bills defense gets a couple key stops and they get the win.
Right, so that means your AFC Championship game is the one-seeded Ravens versus the two-seeded Bills.
Yes.
Hell of an AFC Championship game, I'll say. So my matchups, I have the Ravens going against the Texans, and it's a rematch. I don't know why I said it like that.
Watch.
It's a rematch.
British now.
It's a rematch of the week, I believe five loss in my schedule. I had them losing 17-20. I think the Ravens get their get back in this game, and I think it's kind of similar to like maybe that 2011 game where the offense is kind of but the defense kind of finished it off, and I have the Ravens winning 26-17 in that game.
I like that.
I have the Chiefs going into Buffalo and upsetting the Bills in a crazy fashion in a 2021 style divisional round matchup game and winning 38 38 to 31. Crazy game. I have the Chiefs winning. So my AFC Championship is a rematch of the 2023 AFC Championship game. Ravens, one-seeded Ravens versus three-seeded Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll give you first. Ravens, Bills, AFC Championship game. What do you think?
Bro, if your game was to happen again, I don't think you would eat for an entire week. You would be so scared and sick.
I know for sure. I have not forgotten that AFC Championship game 2 years
Want
later.
to get back. You want to
No,
get
that's not 2 years later. It's 1 year later. But I haven't forgotten that game. And if we lose again, you might not see me on this planet.
No, 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 no. That's not.
No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't. No, but no, but you wouldn't see me for a month. I'll say that. You might not even see me for like 8 months. I might be in hibernation for good until the Raven season starts again. But anyways, you can go ahead and give your prediction.
So I feel like we finally get over the hump. This is a game. I won't say a penultimate game because I want us to save that for the Super Bowl, but I feel like Lamar has a game where it's just him.
Wait, time
He
out. When isn't it technically the penultimate game since it's Super Bowl next?
so okay,
I
okay.
thought penultimate meant that it's the game or the thing before the last thing.
I thought it was the last thing. That's why I thought it was.
No, I think penultimate is. Anyways, you.
Okay. Well, I believe that Lamar finally has that type of postseason game where it's all him. He is the main reason the Ravens win. He doesn't make a mistake. It's just him in the driver's seat. And I feel like we win this game. It's going to be a close game, but Lamar is on point. I feel like we win. I feel like we win 37-30. Lamar has, I would say, a three touchdown game. Derrick Henry also does pretty well, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is we win 37-30.
I think that the Ravens are put in the same spot they were 2 years ago. Down at half, offense struggling a little bit. But I think they right their wrongs in that game in the second half and ultimately win 24 to 17. 24-17 is my prediction of the Ravens and Chiefs AFC Championship game. And I think that they finally stop with the red zone and end zone goal line issues. We've had that for 3 straight effing years. But I think that they finally just punch the ball in the end zone. I think that they get the ball starting off second half and they score a touchdown. It's 17-14, and it's just a gritty matchup the rest of the game. And the Ravens have that one drive where they just look unstoppable. Whether they're just running the ball, Lamar is just accurate, and he's proven everybody. I mean, he's been graded as the best quarterback in the postseason the last 2 years. So everyone doesn't want to talk about that, but whatever. And I think that he continues his trend, and I think that we win 24-17 and head to the Super Bowl. So, who do you got us playing in the Super Bowl?
In my head, I have a toss up. I believe it's going to be the Rams or the Packers. I really do. I feel like,
Pick one.
I feel like the Rams will definitely, I feel like it's going to be the Rams. I feel like just the pairing of Devontae Adams and Puka Nakua, and their kind of emerging young defense, what they've been building there. I feel like it's going to be something that definitely is a mix of both worlds and experience, as well as that new kind of flashy, a couple of mojo they got going on. I feel like that would get them through the NFC side of the playoffs. They beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship game and get to the Super Bowl. Ravens, Rams. And
Or
we won, of course, 26-13.
13. Ravens win the Super Bowl. Well, I think that we are in for a treat because I think the Eagles are on their way to the Super Bowl trying to go have the second straight team to go back-to-back years and winning the Super Bowl. So I think that's the Ravens and the Eagles, both of the bird teams. And I think, again, this is the perfect matchup for the Ravens to just finally exercise their playoff demons. And I think that they get it done. And I don't think that it's dominant like it's been the last two Super Bowls. But I think the Ravens win, and I think this is fair, 27-23. Win the Super Bowl. And I could see it being like, oh my God, imagine having to do a game-winning drive in the Super Bowl.
With all the demons we have to face, I think it would be worth it. Well deserved for Ravens fans to see that. So
But just imagine, you just sit here and imagine this. You're in the Super Bowl. Where is it? San Francisco. It would be funny if we played San Francisco. But imagine San Francisco, minute 10 left, no timeouts, ball at the 10.
2 minute drill. Let's get
Not
it.
even 2 minutes, that's 1 minute, 10 seconds. It's a 1 minute drill.
But it's the same
No,
intensity.
I know, I get what you're saying. But, imagine no timeouts, though. Eagles defense.
The way we could get it done, man.
I feel
Just
like if we were watching that
add
game,
the numbers passes.
right. I
Definitely
feel like
protect.
if we were watching that game together, like I don't think we would say anything. Like we'd be like locked in, like we were playing, bro. But imagine like the legacy conversations we'd have if Lamar did that.
He would easily be top 10 of all time, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. He'd have that ring to prove it. So, and two MVPs should be three, but whatever.
A
So,
gauntlet playoff to go through in
hmm,
either of our scenarios. So
yeah, I mean, you have us going to the Bengals, Bills, and Rams. I have us going to the Texans, Chiefs, and Eagles. So, it's gonna be a hell of a season. Hopefully, one of our predictions is right, because at the end of the day, we'll win the Super Bowl on either one, you know. So, um, I feel a lot more confident in this team going into the season than I did last year. I'll say that. Obviously, this is all hypothetical. Obviously, it's all predictions, just because we don't know the injury situations. You know what slumps players might get into. Who knows? Maybe the AFC will open up again, like how it did a few years ago for us, which we didn't take advantage of. But again, besides the point. So, like I said, I'm very confident with this team, but there are players that need to turn it up in the postseason. Lamar included, Andrews included, and company. So the fact that we were one play away from the AFC Championship game with missing, Zay Flowers and all that, our defense, still kind of maybe they're good. They were decent, but like they did the best that they could, But I think the Ravens exercised a lot of demons this year. I think this has to be the year. We have too good of a team to not do it.
yeah, it has to be. And it's funny because if we don't after this year, a lot of guys would be gone. Mark Andrews would probably be gone. Lamar's cap hit, if we don't fix that, that's going to be something we have to deal with. This will take away our ability to get contracts for other players done. But most importantly, I feel like this is a Ravens team that has very few weaknesses on our roster. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, when it comes to the nose tackle position, we want a little bit more, I guess, production out of that, maybe a star player at the trade deadline, Vita Vea, if you will. But I feel like this Ravens team on paper is a lot better than that 2023 team. Our wide receiver position, Zay, Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Tylan Wallace. We still have Tez Walker, who's emerging. We have like Jonte Wester, who will be our special teams dude. I feel like on defense, I really love that Mike Green pick. I hope he could be that pass rusher we've been looking for ever since those T Sizzle and Haloti Nada, Jerry Johnson days. And bringing in guys like Chuck Pagano and that Desario from the Chiefs, great acquisitions.
on top of all that, we could possibly bring in Clowney too.
Yeah, and a Clowney too. And another guy that I want us to bring in to replace our Darius Washington, who hopefully can come back towards the end, like how you mentioned. I want Justin Simmons. I really feel like he'll bring that veteran presence that just help to guys like Kyle Hamilton, to guys like Malachi Starks, that mentorship to give them either him or Jordan Poyer. But I want Simmons, man. I really want that dude to be on a Raven and help this defense get to the next level that I know it can go.
Right. I definitely agree. And I guess maybe we can do one last thing before we close this video out. Um, what do you think like Lamar's stats could be like this year? Ah,
Yeah. I do think it's another great, MVP worthy year from him. I don't know about like a 50 touchdown year or anything like that, but I see his stats looking somewhat like 37 passing touchdowns, um, 5 interceptions. I do think he can get 4,000 passing yards again, maybe like 4,150, something like that. I think he has a pretty good quarterback rating and overall completion percentage, maybe like the 69 to 74 range, something like that. And I
just give me
think
one number.
huh,
Give me one number. I want to write it down.
71. And I think that's what he stands at. So 37 touchdowns, 5 picks, 4,150 yards, 71 completion percentage.
All right. What about Henry? What do you think Henry stats are going to look like?
I want Henry, I think Henry kind of slows down a little bit, and I kind of want him to just because I want Keaton Mitchell to have that RB2 role to be that 1-2 punch, and Justice Hill is more like a throwing option. So I say with Henry, he has 1,640 yards. I believe he has 13 rushing touchdowns and he averages 4.9 yards per carry.
All right. All right. All right. So do you want to do other running backs? Like, do you want to do Mitchell, Hill, like, or do you want to go to
I
receivers?
want I do Mitchell and then we'll go to receivers. So I think Keaton Mitchell, this is what I hope. I don't think the Ravens would do this, but I hope that Keaton Mitchell has at least like I forgot to say, I think Derrick Henry has a little bit over 300 carries too. Maybe like 302. But I believe Keaton Mitchell has like maybe like I want to say 97 to 100 carries. I'll say 100 carries. He has like 489 yards. Um, I would say he has 6 rushing touchdowns. And I really think if he really is like healthy to what he was, I could see him getting 5 yards per carry, bro. It's just that guy that is like the Ravens bring in once Derrick Henry breaks down the defense. And I feel like he can gas teams. So that's what I can see from him.
Okay. Okay. I can see it. Um, what do you want to do for receivers? What do you think Zay gets?
I think Zay gets 87 receptions. I think Zay gets 1,216 receiving yards, and I think he gets 10 receiving touchdowns.
All right. What about Bateman?
I think Bateman gets like a little under 70 receptions, maybe like 65. 65 receptions. I think he gets 700 receiving yards, and he himself will get 7 touchdowns.
700 on the dot.
700 on the dot. Yeah.
How many touchdowns you said?
7 receiving touchdowns.
What about DeAndre Hopkins?
D Hop, I see D Hop getting 55 receptions, maybe something like 560 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns.
What about Mark Andrews?
Mark Andrews, I see Mark Andrews getting 800 I say 800 receptions. I see Mark Andrews I see
Like
Mark
Jesus Christ, bro! Like,
uh I see Mark Andrews getting about 74 receptions. I see him getting 800 receiving yards, and I believe he really gets 8 receiving touchdowns.
all right, Isaiah Likely.
That's my guy right there. Isaiah Likely, I think he's going to get a lot more receptions. I would say he gets 60 receptions. Um, I believe he also breaks over 700 receiving yards. And I would say he gets 11 touchdowns.
11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I wonder if those stats are going to add up here.
I was thinking, I hope they add up kind of.
I'm gonna say you're gonna be like, you predicted him to get this many yards, but I'm doing it for you. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's 3,976 yards combined with those guys. So those are the main targets. I mean, other guys, and you said 4,150 yards for him. So
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. I mean, I don't know. Okay, let me think about some guys on defense. So who do you think is gonna be our sack leader?
Sack leader, I think it's going to be Owe. I think Owe will have 11 sacks on the year. Um, I feel like Matabike will come second to that maybe with like 10. And I think Mike Green himself gets like 9.5.
All right. So 9.5. Do you have anybody else lower? Like Owe? I mean, like I mean, K Owe. KVN. Like how many do you think he gets? Like
6.5.
KVN.
Yeah.
6.5. Let me think about other guys. Who else is our other pass rushers? I guess Robinson, but you don't really play him that much.
Mhm.
All right. What about interception leaders?
Interception leaders. I think Marlowe is going to have like 3 interceptions, maybe 4 interceptions. I'm sorry, 4 interceptions. And maybe Kaham will have 3. I would say Malachi Starks has 2. And I think Nate Wiggins can have 4 as well.
I said leaders, and then you went four, three, two.
Sorry, I just had to get the whole guys. I'm sorry. I just thought about them all. So I would say Nate Wiggins with 4.
I'm mad at you now. I need to start writing with pencil. Um, okay. You think Roquan gets any?
No.
I think he gets like one, but
Yeah, I'll say that one or something. Yeah.
okay. I'll just put Smith one. Okay. Okay? What do you think Loop does? What do you think his kicking stats look like?
I think he said a loop. I'm like, who the hell is that? But Loop. I believe Loop goes 24 of 27. Um, I think his longest field goal of the season is 55 yards.
All right. Look at all the stats we can really cover that anyone would really care about. Um, we can go like pancake blocks for like Linderbaum. We probably
Let's
have a
look at
lot.
that.
Huh?
What do you think these guys are going to get?
What I think, I think what you have is pretty fair. I think Lamar probably in that 4,100 to 4,300 range. I think he gets the from a range of like 31 to 40 touchdowns. It's kind of a wide range, but I think he can get there. I think he'll probably get like 33. I think he throws a little bit more picks than he did last year. I think he throws like seven. I think just there were a few that were dropped last year, so he only threw four, but I think that he gets up to like seven this year, which isn't terrible. I could see him having like a 60, 68, 69 completion percentage this year. With Henry, I feel that he can get 1,600 yards as well, like how you said. I actually think he gets 19 touchdowns.
Okay.
He can average, I think 4.9 yards per carry is fair. Like Keaton Mitchell, I think that I don't know how much we're going to see of him. I think Hill would probably be main RB2. I think Keaton Mitchell is only going to get like 300 and some yards. I think he gets a touchdown. But he can average like 7 yards a carry. He's that good. Um, Zay Flowers, I think that I think it's fair he can get like in the 80s, 80 receptions, 80 to 90, 1,000 yards. I think he barely cracks 1,000 though, like I did last year. I think he only gets like two touchdowns. He's not really a red zone threat in my opinion. I think Bateman, where you have him is fair again, 65 to 700 yards. So I think he can get like 50 to 60 receptions. I think he ranges from 60 to 800 yards. But I think he gets 10 touchdowns this year though,
Fantastic.
in my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins, I could see him getting like 35 receptions for like 300 and some yards. I think like a touchdown's fair, maybe two. Mark Andrews, I could see him getting 80 receptions to 70 to 80 receptions for 700 something yards. And I think that he has double digit touchdowns as well. I think he's like 12. And I think Isaiah Likely is in the 40 to 50 reception range for 500, 400 and 500 yards, something around there for like four or five touchdowns. I think our sack leader is going to be Beta BK. I think he's going to go back up. I think he's going to get 12. I think KVN's going to get 10. I think Owe is going to get 8. And I think Green's going to get 6. Our interception leaders, I think Marlowe gets no. I think Wiggins gets 5. I'm going crazy with it. I think
You're
Wiggins gets 5.
going buku with it.
I think Cahan gets 3. I agree with that. I think Marlowe gets 1. I think Starks gets 2. That's fair, and I think Smith gets 1. There's some other guys I think can get 1, but I can't think. And I think Loop goes. I think Loop goes 26 of 31, and I
Five.
think yeah, and I think that his longest is 51.
Okay.
That's my predictions for stats.
I feel like your season is like a lot more cinematic. I like that. Like it takes us to a whole journey, and it's like a movie. I like that.
And if it's scripted overall, I think they want the best entertainment anyway. So
Hey guys, MCU, sign them. But it's very fun making these videos, guys. Just predicting the Ravens season. This is probably gonna be our bread and butter now. But just in general, we love the Ravens, and we're glad that you love watching the Ravens too and watching these videos. Definitely let us know down below in the comments. What do you think is gonna happen with the season? Who do you think is going to be the most improved player? And who do you think is going to be a breakout player? Let us know that down below in the comments. Also, make sure to check out our social medias, our TikTok, our Instagram, our Twitter. Jared's always cooking up some great, whether it's TikTok videos, Instagram edits. Jared's always cooking. I mean, look at him smiling right now. He's just thinking about those ideas that he's cooking up. Make sure to check those out, guys. Also, make sure to check out our second channel, Casual Cinema. We've seen some great movies like Sinners and Thunderbolts, so we're going to be, reviewing those soon and putting them on the channel. There's also movies like Superman and Fantastic Four coming out soon. There's Ironheart, which we were discussing. Now, we might actually watch that. So, that's on me, honestly, because Jared's a movie person, I mean, a TV show person. I got to catch up with mine. So, we might have that on there. You know, um, but let us know in there. What do you think we should watch? But anyways, that'll be the end of this video. Anything else you want to say? Not a go flock. Not a go Ravens.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. That's all we got for you guys today in this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're TJ and Jared, Birds of Prey. We're out.
Bro.